As you can see, Josh Martin on pole position here with Rob Butler lining up alongside row 2, Damien Hall and Max Edmondson. Away we go, and without further ado, it's going to be a great start from Josh Martin coming down into Old Hall. Third position is our Bajan Cop Fiston himself in third position. This is the worrying moment, as we say, although, as you heard from Mike Epps, it might be worrying when they get down into the hairpin for the first time side by side for the lead. Butler having a very good look at it. There is Max Edmondson running in P3 now. So Edmondson fourth on the grid, makes it up into third place. This is the part of the track that Mike Epps was talking about. Oh, and off goes Butler. Is he going to slide in front of the cars? He does, as they go through. Lovely bit of direction they're going onto our overhead camera. It's Max Edmondson who comes through in the lead. Matt Richards P2. Dan Telos is third. Telos up into third. Damien Hall fourth. Then Jack McIntyre. Jordan Brennan sixth from Josh Martin recovering for seventh. Max Coates in eighth. And it did all go pear-shaped, didn't it? Safety car unsurprisingly coming out. And that is exactly what Mike Epps was talking about.
Yeah, that was a nasty one, wasn't it? And yeah, I imagine some of the drivers involved in that were had a little bit of a worrying moment as they saw a car spearing across the grass towards them, the hairpin there.
Yeah, it was Rob Butler, I think, was the first one. I thought we were going to get a good long look at Rob Butler up at the sharp end of things, but not quite sure whether he had any contact or not. But it's Max Edmondson that leads from Matt Richards here at Oulton for our second race of the day. Dan Telos next up from Damien Hall. So Telos made some good progress. Actually, I shouldn't be surprised, he was back on row 3, wasn't he, Dan Telos, with Max Coates. So those two, Coates down in 8th place, Telos managed to thread his way through. And again, looking for a first podium. Rob Butler's car has even got the reality, and we said this in Series 1, it's got the the tyre marks and scuffs on the side of the car. It's amazing how the software manages to replicate that.
Yeah, it's certainly pretty cool.
So Max Edmondson, lead driver, not unfamiliar territory for him, led the reverse grid race at Brands Hatch and led for a long time, and of course he will build on that confidence that he had from there. He knows he's quick round here because he had the fastest time in practice for a little while this morning and was quick at Donington Park, but I guess you're going to say it's all about what's happening this weekend, and he's looking pretty sharp. Matt Richards right behind him as well. Dan Zelos in P3 will be looking to come through in the Devante Tyres car. Damien Hall in 4th, hoping to stay in the top 10 and add to the points that he scored in race number 1.
That's a good drive from Damien, definitely.
It was very, very good drive indeed. So safety car will be getting ready to come back in.
Just looking at our social media comments again, I think we've got someone watching perhaps in Sri Lanka that mentioned the time. That was a little bit earlier on in the comments, but also this is an interesting fact for you. So how do you think the nickname the Bear or Bear started for Jordan Brennan?
I don't know.
Well, so this is an interesting one. He won the Teddy Bears picnic at school, according to our social media followers.
Yes, he's going to thank me for that when he gets on TV.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. Okay, so we're hearing that Andy Dorman had a little bit of gave a little bit of contact out. I think accidentally while the safety car was on. So Andy down in 21st position. It's Max Edmondson that leads them away from Matt Richards. So it is a race very much on for the lead of this one as they go through Lakeside once again. And Richards putting the pressure on. Looks on the outside line. You really want to be teeing up the inside line, which is what Max Edmondson's got at the moment defensively. And you can see why the 44 car's struggling, but might get the cutback and a run here if he could just power his way up over Hilltop. He's got Dan Telos in his virtual mirrors as well in third place. The red, black and white Devante car. Damien Hall still in 4th position. Jack Mack, the silent assassin, is in 5th place. We have a quick look there at Ethan Hamilton in the 32 car, High Road Motorsport Instant Machine 29th Championship, running through. But always loved the reverse grid racing, always good to see, and it just gives us a chance to focus on different drivers up at the front end.
No, absolutely. That's the great thing about the reverse grids. It just mixes things up and allows some other people to shine. Perhaps they haven't got the outright pace, but they're great racers. and gives them a chance to perhaps develop that the experience of running at the front.
It is very much all about that, isn't it? We're riding with Matt Richards, so watching the second place driver, watching what he's doing on his, interesting that unlike some of the drivers not using gloves, goes to the outside line here. He's going to try and go to run into Oulton. He's going to be brave to do it on the outside, so he might look at the cutback on the inside. Running a little bit tight there was Max Edmondson, and as a result I think that we've got Richards challenging for it. Now Edmondson's still there side by side as they come down through Oulton and into Cascade, still side by side. The blue car of Matt Richards trying to tee up that inside run, but Max Edmondson holding on well. This is bringing Dan Zelos into the mix as well. Zelos is better back round the outside.
Yeah, Dan's having a good race here. I think he's got an opportunity perhaps to pick up a place. It looks like he's managed it. Yep. He has. Yeah, very into second.
Very well read there by Dan Zelos. He's going to have a look now for the lead. So it's Edmondson the leader, as he was at Brands Hatch on the Indy circuit for our first event in the reverse grid race. But watch the likes of Jack McIntyre back in fourth, the blue white car of McIntyre, Jordan Brennan having a teddy bear's picnic and coming through from a podium position. Remember, was at the back of the reverse 12, is up into 5th place. Damien Hall 6th, Max Coates 7th, then Ryan Elliott, Dave Marshall 9th, Marshall 2 places, Kieran Mike Epps. They're making great progress here. It's Robert Stapleford up into the top 10, wasn't in the Robbie Stapleford wasn't in the reverse part of the grid, but has got himself into top 10 here. So Robbie Stapleford, who's had some connection issues or whatever, getting sorted out as we watch Dan Zelos having a little bit of a Mr. Whippy moment there, and that drops him down to 3rd again behind Matt Richards. Across the line they go again. So Max Edmondson will be probably grateful for the swapping that's going on. McIntyre goes up into 3rd, Zelos down to 4th. And Jordan Brennan looking to try and make up a position as well. The windset shot there of Jack McIntyre. We've got a pass going on. Robbie Stapleford down the inside line there of Ryan Elliott. Very neatly done move by the 24 car, the profile racing engine machine. 3rd in the championship, Robbie Stapleford. And keen to make up some points as Jordan Brennan now starts to challenge Dan Zelos for 4th place. Again, difficult to know exactly where to look. It's Max Edmondson out front on the second lead over Matt Richards in P2. Jack McIntyre is 3rd. Brennan now up into 4th place. Dan Zelos down to 5th. Work to do for Dan. Still on his overall results, getting stronger and stronger meeting by meeting. But you know, when you're running in podium pace, that's where you want to stay. You want to get that first podium under your belt. Then challenge for the outright wins, but Zelos improving meeting by meeting, which is the key thing. It's ahead of Coates. There is Brennan, 4th place, so we're going to see 2 podiums for Jordan Brennan. It's a strong work again from my driver of the day at Donington Park. Brennan chasing after Jack Mack now.
Yeah, there's definitely some action going on here, isn't there, in this sort of front 6 or so. Very much Dan Zelos absolutely in the mix there.
Mike Epps coming through.
Mike absolutely noticed that. Dave Marshall dropping down the field a little. Yeah,
Mike takes no prisoners coming through the field, goes through now into 7th place. And Marshall, I think, ran wide down to 13th place. So this is going to put Epps potentially back into the championship lead. We've got plenty of time, still got half the race for Dave Marshall to get back into the mix. Edmondson still leading. Matt Richards P2. Jack McIntyre is 3rd from Jordan Brennan. Then it's Dan Zelos, Mike Epps ahead of Robbie Stapleford. Now Stapleford, from much further down the grid, will be able to, I think, learn from and certainly follow Mike Epps here. He's got the pace for Robbie Stapleford to do it. So remember, Epps second in the championship, Stapleford I think might have dropped to 4th position in the championship after race 1. As you'll appreciate, as we go straight from race to podium interviews and then into race 2, we don't have a chance to do any mathematics for you particularly quickly, but we'll give you our best guess in terms of those. Dan Zelos still 5th from Coates, and Brennan trying to close in as well on Max Coates as we watch Mike Epps in the number 12 car, 7th place. Going to have a race on his hands here with Robbie Stapleford right behind him. There is Max Coates in the 71 car. Dan Zelos now down behind him. These two replicating virtually what they did on track for real last year, both real world winning drivers. Dan, I think, hoping to make an announcement in the next few weeks about what he's going to be up to this year. Of course, we'd love to see him move up the ladder, but equally, we could see him stay as part of the Mini family. Similar story really with Max Coates as well. I think unfinished business for Max in the Mini Championship and for Dan Zelos as well. I don't want to commentate on them this year. Change, I think, there going on as Jack McIntyre now goes into T2, the silent assassin, living up to his nickname.
Indeed, that was always a part of the first season, really, that, yeah, just quietly moving his way up the field. So, no, definitely nice to see that again. Got another nickname on social media, Tugger. Now, I don't know whether that's actually something to do with the Juggernaut, and still basically another Jordan Brennan nickname, which it's the Bear, the Juggernaut, Juggy Bear, and maybe Tugger as well. But perhaps somebody on social media can confirm that, whether that's somebody else.
He's getting plenty of coverage, isn't he, in terms of nicknames. What we might have to do is put all the nicknames in a hat and pull one out. It's racing thing to do. But either way, he's having a super meeting again, and in fourth place, chasing down Matt Richards. Max Edmondson, though, super drive from him out front. Jack McIntyre second, Matt Richards third, Jordan Brennan is fourth, and Edmondson here, doing what he did at Brands Hatch, looks a little bit more confident though, Anthony, because he's actually got that little bit of a lead at the moment as we're just into the second half of the race. Yeah,
really strong results, or strong position at the moment for him, with a good nearly 2 second gap, which is actually extending by the looks of it as well. So that's a really strong result at the moment.
Spoke to him on the podium after Brands Hatch, and of course he's running. Oh, that's a big amount of contact there, and I think that was Tom O'Farrell, who I was about to single out and say, let's have a look at what Tom's doing, because he was actually notching up towards point scoring position, but finds himself down the order now in 22nd behind Ethan Hamilton, so it's not going to be any points to the man from Isla in this one, which is a big pity, because he was having a strong race up to that point. There is the Holiday Homes Isla car getting stuck in. We've got a contact on the back end of Ethan Hamilton. Been watching Jason Plato and Matt Neal. I think probably more Matt Neal, isn't it, that punts people off more than Jason Plato. Now, I can say that because they're not listening.
Don't worry, when I next speak to Matt, I'll make sure I pass on the message.
It's actually so. That was a hard one, wasn't it, there for Tom O'Farrell.
That tyre barrier looks a bit harder than it does in real life.
Yeah, concrete build, that one, I think. So Jordan Brennan's still working hard in fourth place. I was going to go on to say that Matt Neal, who's from the Oxfordshire region, different spelling to my surname, Neal, but our surname was NEAL back several generations, so we need to look into see whether we're related or not. The genealogy suggests we might be, as we're from the same neck of the woods. But anyway, back to the mainstay of this race, and the inset you can see Jack McIntyre trying to close down on the race leader Max Edmondson. He's got a little bit of a break now over Matt Richards, having done the work to get past. Jordan Brennan is the white car, running a little bit wide, trying to get back up onto another podium. So Brennan again, he's quick, but he's very consistent as well, Jordan Brennan, and trying to close in, but so too is Matt Richards in that 44 car. Hasn't given up the chance of maybe taking a P2 or trying to get on with Max Edmondson for the lead.
Yeah, so it's not over yet, is it?
No, it's not. So through Hislop's the chicane, then out through Knickerbrook. A brief look there at Josh Hislop, 11th position, so in the points. Damien Oulton in the points, incidentally, and Liam Lambert 14th. He's in the points as well, being chased by Dave Marshall. So Marshall with some damage limitation to do after his wide moment, and Dorman 16th behind him. But good to see Liam Lambert up in the points, so he's going to be in that Lux Motorsport car, looking to try and bang in a first point. He's been close to the points before. 17th Brands Hatch race 1, 18th Donington Park race 2, so he's been strong on both of the circuits he's raced on so far, and running well. Josh Hislop chases down Josh Martin. Rob Butler clawing his way back up the order as well. Rob just outside the points at the moment. The next driver he will try and get past is Dave Marshall. Jordan Brennan has a wide moment. Let's see whether Max Coates can make the most of this. The white car of Jordan Brennan going off, and Max Coates goes around the outside line, make the most of that, have more momentum, coaxing up into fourth position. He hasn't turned the lights up, has he?
No, if we could see him, we won't actually be able to see the concentration, but we can't see him.
And now Dan Zelos in the mix as well, trying to come through and pass Jordan Brennan. So that was very definitely, and Jordan, I apologise, Kirsten, the commentator, to me saying how fast and consistent he was, has a little off, runs wide, coaxing through into fourth place. It's a bit of a trade for fourth at the moment. Now, given that McIntyre and Richards are dicing hard, in theory, if they work together, they should be able to close in. Mike Epson, seventh, hasn't made as much progress as we've seen the front runners do through the field in other races so far this year. But a good point score, 7th position for him. Dave Marshall still 15th, Liam Lambert in 14th. Max Coates leading this quartet. Jordan Brennan will be dead keen to get that car back in front of the Yorkshireman Max Coates. Mike Epps catching up as well. You can see the...
Yeah, he's on the back of that train. He could quite easily catch get a few more points, couldn't he, if he just picks up those places?
He could indeed. That livery, incidentally, of Mike Epps car, actually reminiscent of those of you who might have watched some of the club racing that I've commentated on, actually reminds me a little bit of Rob Burley's Escort WRC livery that he had. It'd be great to see Rob Burley doing a bit of racing, e-racing, and we'll have to see whether we can sort that out. Rod, who's like a current day Jerry Marshall in terms of the number of wins that he's taken in club racing, all forms of motorsport over the years. That does remind me of his livery, Rob Burley. But here we go. This is the battle for fourth place. Max Coates leading them at the moment. Jordan Brennan still trying to get back on, and Mike Epps here will sense that he has got the opportunity to pick off some more points here amongst his real-world drivers. It's the Levante eSports car that is the immediate target. Still that great battle on for second, and a great drive out front from Max Edmondson with 3 minutes 25 on the clock. I better start looking at the clock just to see how long we have got to go on this one. It's all good close stuff at the minute, and Edmondson is going to deserve this race, Anthony, if he can hold on, I think.
Oh, for sure. He's ultimately just consistently banging in the laps and managed to manage the gap back to second place. Obviously, a few people have been in that position trying to close that gap, but not been able to do so. So, no, a great drive from him.
Jack McIntyre, at the moment, Dave Marshall down in 13th place, which is 3 points, and McIntyre P2 will get 17, and that's a big chunk of points out of Dave Marshall's championship lead for the sim class. So this is going to put McIntyre very much, you'd be thinking that he can score the points and potentially take the battle right the way to the end of the year, and maybe get that drive in the Cooper Championship as we ride on board with Jordan Brennan again chasing Max Coates. Obviously the blue skies here, isn't it, at Oulton Park. We usually have some good sunny days. Had some nasty, horrible wet days at Oulton as well. The track that we normally don't start racing out on the Sunday until late on. It tends to be midday, and it's one of the tracks where in the Toka paddock you just get the chance on the Sunday morning to do something you can't do at other tracks because of the noise limitations. Because it starts late, you actually get the chance to go around the paddock and talk to some of the drivers. Couldn't do that last year, of course, because we were all in our respective bubbles, but when we get back to normality, it's one of the pleasures of going to Oulton Park is having a wander around and chatting to everybody.
And it is just such a beautiful place.
It is, yeah, it's a wonderful circuit, and great locals as well. It's a massively supported event as well. One of those old-fashioned tracks where you can sort of spend the race day walking around the track and watching from different vantage points. 1:34 on the clock. This is the battle for fourth place. 1, 2, 3, Max Edmondson, Jack McIntyre and Matt Richards. Max Coates is 4. I don't think Max is going to be able to bag a podium here, but he is ahead of Jordan Brennan, who was heading up towards the podium in a strong fourth position before that moment. Dan Zelos still in 6th place. Mike Epps is 7th. Then the gap back is lost Robert Stapleton. Robert's still there though in 8th place. Then Ryan Elliott 9th. Josh Hislop 10th from Isaac Smith. Dave Marshall is in 12th place now, ahead of David Hall. Liam Lambert still in the points, I'm pleased to say, 14th, ahead of Josh Martin. Rob Butler trying to get in the points as well. 16th, Randy Dorman, Luke Kidsley, Jack Noller 19th, Ethan Hamilton rounding out the top 20 at the moment as we watch the concentration on Max Coates' face. Again, looking pretty relaxed, isn't he, Max? Despite the fact he's under pressure, as you can see. Main shot from Jordan Brennan, who looks around the outside.
No, he certainly does. As much as we can see him with the lighting levels, he's certainly looking pretty relaxed there, definitely. It'll be interesting to see whether he can keep that position. Certainly under pressure, though.
I'll stick some candles in the post to Coates' garage at Oulton, I think. And 4 candles would be the thing to do. So there you go, you can have a prize. You can send some candles up to him if you want to, anyone's watching that. Coates' garage, Oulton, North Yorkshire, that's the address. 12 seconds on the clock to go, so once the clock runs down, it's an additional lap for Max Edmondson, who is going to, I think, grab his maiden win here. He's been on the podium already, but it's been a super drive from him out front. Fastest lap, I'm not sure. There's scrolling to have a look at that, to see who gets the bonus point, but Epps, I think, is going to reclaim the championship lead here outright, and will pull away from Robbie Stapleford, who's second in the real world standings at the moment. Robbie, remember, in 8th position in this one as they go across the line. Now, did Max Edmondson cross the line before the clock went down? He did. We are on the final lap. Thank you, Mike, for pointing that out. Here is Max Coates still gamely holding on to 4th position from Jordan Brennan. Dancy lost in 6th. Mike Epps at the back of that quartet, running from 4th to 7th place. Edmondson still there. 1.013 seconds from Edmondson, the man who was momentarily quickest in practice at the start of the day, and lapping well, best lap 1 minute 30.4. Have a quick whiz down the times. I'll tell you what, there aren't too many drivers, I don't think, and you might even have the fastest lap as well, Max Edmondson. That to be officially confirmed as we watch Mike Epps, who should go away with the championship lead by my maths, still there, but the inset shows Edmondson coming through the chicane for the last time here at Oulton Park, still clear. Jack McIntyre has driven a solid race to come through, has built a bit of a lead over Max Richards in 3rd, but 2 entertaining races, Anthony.
Oh, very much so. It's action all the way through, really. So no, it's really good to see. And yeah, Edmondson, yeah, solid result as far as I'm concerned. I'm pretty sure he's got the fastest lap too, as you say. But obviously, official confirmation to follow. But no, really good drive from him. Really good drive.
Don't forget to let us know who you think is your driver of race 2 and the driver of the day here. Max Edmondson, for me, it's sometimes easy to pick the winner of the race as the driver of the race, but he's done a super job out front. And Edmondson is going to take his first win in the official UK Mini Challenge eSeries, grabs the win. Jack McIntyre in 2nd place, Matt Richards takes 3rd.